I'm starting. Just only one things, guys. Be good in this area, because in his I'm going to start what project, right? Real time project. In that project, I'm not going to what explain what is that authentication, what is the authorization, and all. Directly I will implement, because that is the project. If I start explaining that they are also Spring Boot and microservices, then it will be the problem for me only, right? I can't able to complete my what.
Ravi, that's correct.
I can't able to complete my water project also, right? In 2 to 3 years, it will take 2 years, right? So the thing is, there directly I'll use the concept. Okay, where the need, right? Where I will think about what things I need really explain, those things I'll explain it, but this much depth I will not go. So okay, so now good. Now let's start. What is that? Our Spring Boot security, Spring Boot microservices, using what is that application, using what JWT concept, right? JWT concept. So again, I'm going to develop again scratch level application, friends. Some concept you guys already know. Okay, but in this time, what is some extra added things will come, right? Some extra things will come, where in which area you guys need to put what is that 100% yours, right? 100% yours, then the concept will come to your in your hand, right? So now let's again, what is that start, what is Spring Boot security using what, using JWT, right? JWT. So this process we are going to again divide in multiple parts, friends. Okay, multiple parts. Okay, first part we will do what, registration, but in this time there is no form and all those things will be there, guys. Okay, because this is the distributed application now, we are going to implement in microservices application. So in this time, JSON data will be there, right? So register process. First we will do register processing. Second time we will implement, after completing that, what is that registration process implementation, then we will start what, what is that login, and what is that token generation, right? Generation. After, then what is the third step, what we will do it now? Third step, we will access resources, right? Resources. These three steps we will follow, right? First step, let's start working on this one only, right? First step, we start, what is that? And let's start implementing what is that registration process, right? Registration process. So in this time, right, in this time, our client will be, what is that, will send the data in the JSON format, friends. Okay, in this time, previously we are using the form, right, to log in the data, log in our application now. Come on.
Yes, sir.
In this time we will use what, JSON data, right? So end user or end client, end client provide, register details, register detail in what, in which format? JSON format, right? JSON format. Those details, must what, must be stored in DB, database, as two tables, right? Two tables. previously only, right? Previously how we are storing, same like, right? Same like, what is that? User role, users plus what is that? Roles, right? Roles table. Come on, two tables is
Yes.
created now last time. What is that? People are remembered.
User
Yes,
underscore
right.
tab.
User details
Yeah.
and roles.
So and what next step, what we will do it here itself only. And also store password in what is that? Encoded, right? Encoded format, right? Encoded format. Also we will store the data in the, sorry, password in encoded format in the database, right? So what is the process will be in this time now? What is the process? Just assume that what is the registration process will be there in this time now, friends. Okay, so just assume that this is the data our data will be, right? This is our, what is that? Data will be. So in this time, what is that? We will pass the name, right? Name like this. Name, just assume that, let's take one of our Pankaj. Now in this time I'm taking, what is that? Pankaj is nothing but Puspendra, right? So Pankaj, right? Pankaj name I'm taking. And a user, let's take, what is that? Username will be just p at the rate something. P at the rate. Okay, fine. After then what we will do it now? We will send the pwd password, right? Password something like just 1 2 3 4 5 something, right? This is the password, the registration process I'm explaining, friends. After then what we will do it now? We will decide the roles also na. Roles, right? Roles must be in the array format, right? Roles must be in array format. So in the JSON, how we are specifying the arrays? Like this. Arrays. Now here we will give, what is that? Admin, and what is that? Employee. EMP, right? Just I'm giving employee. These are the, just assume that these JSON data we will send for the registration purpose, right? Registration purpose. So now this data, first what we will do it now? Where we will send it now? We will send this data to whom? To whom? We will send this data to controller, right? Controller. Come on. We will
Yes, Ravi.
yeah, we will send this data to, what is that? User rest controller. User rest controller. Okay, after then what we will do it now? Here we will read this data. Here in this controller, what is that? This JSON data we will read it, right? This JSON data we will read in the rest controller. Then how we can read it, friends? How we can read? People are remember that at the rate request body annotation is there or not?
Yes, request body.
Come on.
Yes,
Body,
yes.
request body, using what is that? Request body annotation. What we will do it now? We will read now. Okay, after then what? Then after then what we will do it now? We will convert this data, this JSON data, in what? In model class, right? Come on, we will convert this data in the model class. So what is the model class? Com dot rk dot, just take model, right? So now class, let's take, what is that? User, and inside that, what is that? ID, let's take, what is that? Integer, and what is that? String, sorry. After then what is that? Name, let's take, what is that? Let's take, what is that? String, and what? And another one, username is string pwd string and a role, right? Roles will be list of string. List of string. Okay, good. Roles will be list of a string, right? List of a string. Then after taking this model class, right, then what we will do it now, we will perform what is that, we will we want to perform what is that, some encoding logics, right? Encoding logic. Then what is that, then our application will interact with what, then our application will interact, what is that, user service layer, right? Come on, service layer.
Yeah, from controller to
Service
service.
layer. Service layer, right? Here what is that, then in this, in the service layer, what we will do it now, we will encode password, right? We will encode the password. Okay, fine. We will encode the password. After, then what is that, after encoding that, what is the operation we will perform now, we will perform the save operation first. What is that, where our data will store in the database, right? Come on, where our data will store in the database. Okay, no issue, I know that. But just actually I'm giving the assumption only, right? So the data will store using which layer now, using repository layer, right? Come on, using repository layer. In the repository, what operation we will perform, repo dot save, right? Come on, here what is that, obj object we will store, this object we will store in the database, right? So first what is that, this JSON data will convert in the object format, right? Object format is nothing but that data will become, what is that, model data na. Come on,
Yes.
obj. Okay, good. Now this JSON data will come to our controller, right? Controller, and this controller is converting this data in the model class. After, then this one is interacting with what, our service layer. After service and layer, it's need what is to interact with what, database, to store the data, right? To store the data using save operation, right? Using save operation, what we are doing now, we are storing the data in what, in database. After storing data in the database, next what will happen now, this database will return what, this database will return what, id, right? Id to whom, our controller. Id to whom, our controller, right? Id to whom, our controller. Here what we are getting in the controller, id, right? After, then what we are doing now, we are converting that id in string message, right? We are converting this id in string message, right? A string message. And then what is that, this controller will give the response to our what, client, right? Our client as a what, our client is getting the responses, right?
Yes.
Responses as a, what is that, success message, as a success message. Okay, this is the normal. What is that? This is the registration process execution flow, friends, right? This is the registration process execution flow of what? Our microservices modules, right? So let's develop and let's what is that? Put all required dependency, right? Let's first what we will do it now. First we need to do setup now. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, so now in this time let's take the name of our application, right? So project name I'm taking what is that? Spring Boot JWT security, and a dependency we need. What is that? Dependency we need what is that? Web dependency we need. Lombok data JPA we need. Dev tools we need. And what? One database we will use. What is that? MySQL, right? MySQL. I'm going to use what is that? MySQL, right? So these dependency we need, right? So first what we will do it now. Let's create one database. I'm opening MySQL or sorry, MySQL. Yeah. In that, let's create one database. Right click, create one database. So JWT security, right? I created JWT security database. Okay, good. Now open the Eclipse ID. File, new. Let's take one Spring Starter project. Inside that, let's take what is that? Spring security. JWT. Oh, sorry, JWT Spring Boot JWT security, right? JWT security com.rk. This one is the correct, and let's remove security. Okay, so now next, how many dependency we need? First we need what is that? Web, right? Spring Web I took. Another one we need MySQL driver, right? Another we need what is that? Okay, dev tool we need, right? Web dev tool we need. After then what we need? Spring security we will take later. Data JPA we need, right? Data JPA we need. Another one we need what is that? Lombok, right? Lombok API. Okay, all API MySQL is there. Spring Data JPA, Lombok, Spring. Okay, two more dependency we need. Like what? One is JWT, and another one we will take later, right? We will take later. Okay, fine. So all dependency we took na. Web, Lombok, Data JPA, Dev tool, MySQL, Spring Dev tool. Okay. Next, finish. Now it's created. Yeah. Okay, so now let's do the configuration. First, what we will do it now, let's write one model class in our application, friends, right? Now let's take one model class, com dot model. Let's take model class as a what? User class, right? User class, finish it. So here what we will do it now, or let's start first property. Let's complete first property then, right? I'm opening the property. Inside that, what we will do it now, let's write the server data and server data, right? Server data. Okay, so what is that? Server dot port, right? Let's take 9999. Okay, now fine. Okay, so after then what next, what we will do it now, we will do the configuration about what is the data source now.
Yes, sir.
Data source, right? Data source, that is what? Spring data source dot driver class name. Okay, another one is what? Spring dot data source dot what is that? URL, right?
URL.
URL. Spring dot data source
Dot user.
username
Username.
dot username. Okay, copy
Username.
this. Now password, right? So these are the configuration about our what? Database. So here what is that? Let's take Control Shift T, driver, right? Driver, what we will do it now, let's copy this. This is the package, right? Copy this package, come here, just paste it. After then what? Driver only, right? Let's take driver dot driver dot driver. Okay, now here we need to pass what is that? URL, right? URL of our what? Database. So here what we took the name of what? Security, right? Security, JWT security. Okay, good. So here what will be there now? JDBC colon MySQL colon double slash localhost colon 3306, right? Slash JWT security. Password is what? Root only. My database password is root only, and a username also root only. Okay, fine. Now here what is that? Now next what we will do it now, let's do the configuration about what? Data JPA, right?
Yes, sir.
Data JPA. Okay, fine. So here what is that? Spring dot JPA dot what is that? So SQL, right? Make this one as a what? True. Make this one as a true now. Okay, another one is what? Spring dot JPA dot hibernate DDL auto DDL, right? Make this one as what? Let's create. Next we need what is that? Hibernate dilate, right? So what is that? Spring dot JPA dot database platform, right? Now Control Shift T, let's take what is that? Hibernate dialect. So MySQL, right? MySQL dialect 55, right? Dialect 55. Just copy this one, come here, paste it again, go in that class top of, just copy the fully qualified name means full package, with full package that class, right? Now that, okay, fine. So our property, later some modification will come because this application is too big application compared to last yeah, end user to server communication security. This one is a big friends, right? This one is too much complicated also, but later some modification will come, later we will do that, right? We are there in the first stage only now, so just see this. Okay, so our property configuration is ready now. Okay, so now let's write our what model class. Now let's write our model class. Okay, so here what is that? In the model class we will take what we will take what we decided here: id, name, username, password and role, right? Okay, so now let's take private integer id, right? Another one we will take, what is that? Private what was there? String, right? String name is there na? Yeah. Another one is what? Private another one is username, right? String. Another one is what? Username. Another one is what? Private username. After then password, right?
Yes, sir.
pwd. Okay, another one is what? Private list of what? String. List of string, that is what? Rows, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so now control shift o, control shift o. Okay, so here what is that? Like if we want to make this class as a what? Entity class, then what annotation we will apply? Entity class @ data,
Table.
right? So to generate setter and a getter method, right? And here what? @id to generating the primary key, right? Mandatory key. Just after then what? Generating the id. Generating the id, what is that? Generated value, right? Generated value annotation. These are the, this one and this one is the mandatory annotations, right? Which one is the mandatory annotation? Those annotation only I'm taking here, right? Later if you want you can apply. And here what is that collection we are using for to generating different table? What annotation we will apply? Element collection, right? Element collection annotation we will apply on the top of what? List. And at the time of, just assume that if we want to fetch that, by default what kind of loading will be there? This is the lazy loading, right? Come on, now make this
Yeah.
one as a what? Fetch type as a eager loading, right? Fetch yeah, fetch type equal to, make this one as a what? Eager. Okay, now our entity class is ready now. This annotation is mandatory annotation, that's why I applied, friends. Okay, you guys can apply, right, if you want. Okay, so our model class is ready now, guys. Okay, our model class is ready now. Okay, so next what we will do it now? Next what we will do it now? Next let's write, what is that? Repository class, right? Repository in repository interface, right? Repository interface. So right click, new, let's take what? Repo. Repo user repository user repository finish. Now extend what is that? JPA repository. It's need, what is that? Model class. What is the model class? User, right? User. And here what is that? id, integer, right? Now our repo class is ready now, friends. Okay, so next what we will do it now, we want to perform the save operation, right? Save operation. Then what we will do it now, then let's write what is that service layer, right? Let's start what is that developing what our service layer, right? So here what we will do it now, let's start developing what service layer. Now again let's take first what is that interface, right? So right click, new, take interface, right? So here what is that, let's take dot service, right? Service, here let's take I what is that, what name we will take, I user service, right? Now finish it. I want to perform what is that save operation now. Come on. So for that let's take what is that save user. Inside that what we will take, we will take user, right? Control shift to see, I'm not explaining why, because these things already we done last time na.
Yeah, yes, Ravi.
So integer, that's it. Return type, it will return what id, right? Id. After then what, after then we will do that, what is that, we need to write the implementation class also na. It's implementation class, right? So right click, new, let's take one implementation class, service dot impl, right? So here let's take the name as what is that user service impl, right? Impl. Okay, now finish it. Now implement iUser service. It's having what, one abstract method. We need to override now, alt shift s plus v. Now override it. Okay, after overriding that we want to perform the save operation, right? Come on, we want to perform the save operation, then we need to write the logic now. But before that, this service class, without interacting with the repository, there is no possibility to save the data, right? So what we will do it now, we will make the auto wire with what, auto wire with repository or not? We need to make a auto wiring, right? So what we will do it now, private, what is that, user repository repo, right? User repository repo. We need to make this one as a what, at the rate auto wire, fine, friends. Okay, so here what we will do it now, here we will take the reference of what, repo dot what, save operation we will perform, and we will pass this user here itself only, right? We will pass this user, and but this one we need to return what is that id, right? So get get id, right? Get id. Then this one will return what is that, and here what is that, this id directly let's return here itself only. Fine. Okay, now this one is ready now, friends. Okay, now next what we will do it now, next we will develop what, next we will develop our
service, not service at the rate service.
oh, good observation, appreciated. At the rate service, right? At the rate service, fine. Okay, now our service layer also ready. So many modification will come, friends. Okay, so many modification will come, but just initial stage, right? Initial, we are there in the initial stage now, so that's why just think about that, just normal flow of our application only, right? Now fine, here okay, our service impl also ready. Next what we will do it now, next which layer is left now, controller, right? Next controller is left. Let's start to developing, right? Let's start developing what, our rest controller. Okay, good. So now right click new class. Now let's take controller. Let's take controller, and controller name, let's take, what is that? User rest controller. User rest controller. Okay, fine. Now so here, but here in this time this controller is what? Rest controller. Then what annotation now in this time we will apply, friends?
At the rate of
It is
At the rate
controller.
rest controller. After then what is that? Request mapping. Let's take request